All right. And for those who are watching the Zoom later, due to weather, we decided we would keep in-person minimal tonight, and the folks who are normally in person decided to hunker down with the weather threat and Zoom in from home. My notes were here, so I didn't have much of a choice to come other than to have a very, very short class, Barry. So we're here and hope for the best and try to get the class in. And so let's begin with prayer. Well, God, we pray tonight, aware of the weather, and pray for safety for those who are caught out in it. We pray for your watch care. Thank you for the ones who gathered on Zoom and the ones who are here. Guide us with your spirit of enlightenment as we share together, remembering our stories and looking to you for the ability and freedom to tell those stories in new life-giving ways. Amen. I think there's tea in my cup on my desk. That's the office key. Hmm. All right. Nanette, reintroduce our friend, but we're going to pretend like we talked about Odin's two ravens, and I showed you Lisa Jayberg's artwork of a raven. I named him last week Hugin for thought, and said that he has a perch in my study to help my thought process. Well, tonight we're going to identify him as Munin, which is memory. And so that'll be our memory raven as offering blessings to us as we start off our session three with discussion some of our homework assignment. And everybody's just chomping at the bit to share some thoughts on our memories and reflections from our homework. So with Munin's blessing, this session I entitled "If the Walls Could Talk, It Would Tell Stories of Emptiness." But I'm okay with leaving this space empty for memories. Um, However far we get tonight on memories, the floor and the session is open for sharing that. I have a lesson on emptiness ready to go, and we'll use it. But if there's enough desire to share and talk, that's the heart of the Lenten study, and I wouldn't fill that space up with information. Okay, deal?
Deal.
So see how far we get with reflections. Talked to several, just about everybody, probably about not quite everybody, maybe, but folks who have done the homework or worked on the homework, and they had some good experiences. Diane and I shared our questions and answered our questions together. Um, we happened to be at Cooper's Hawk doing a wine tasting, so that caused a lot of conversation and stimulated a lot of conversation. Maybe wouldn't have happened in a classroom. But it was a good discussion. It was fun. It was very good. So uh, I don't know. Y'all are at home, so I don't know what you got in your cups at home. But this is tea. But if you need something to tell your story, what do you got, Teresa?
Water.
Water. Okay.
Water.
All right. Everybody swears they're drinking water. Okay, I can live with that. So we can go through these however you want to. I know Nanette had some that she was sharing with her family. So you want to kick us off?
Spot. Yeah. On number one, I shared this with my kids and one of my nieces. For our family get-togethers, usually the first one being Easter for the spring and summer. My dad always made these amazing cheeseburgers on the grill. And then my mom always made strawberry shortcake. And so tasted that just jumped into my head, and it was always a favorite. And we had that meal too many times to count. Um, and everybody would bring sides and they never got eaten because Dad's cheeseburgers were huge. And the shortcake was amazing. I think a couple of you maybe have shared that. And actually, it was one of the last things my dad ate. One of the last things he requested before he passed away was Mom's strawberry shortcake. So that's a fond memory. And when I sent it to my niece, I was really touched with what she sent back because I'm kind of more than an aunt to her, kind of her mom and her sister and her confidant. And she wrote that for her, it was my advice and my listening ear for her and the things that I would say back to her. And so that was really touching. I hadn't thought about it in quite that way. So those are my two.
I'm sticking with coffee.
Coffee.
I mean, I have a lot, as you know, we have a lot on this list, but that's the thing that jumps out at me.
What I thought about for that first one immediately was all the different trips we've taken to different national parks and then the last trips with Mel and Linda to Italy and all the amazing things that I've seen over the course of my life. And when you start reflecting back on all that, it's pretty amazing. All the different things that God has created.
Yeah.
The thing about memory, memory is you can rerun all those visions in your mind and remember without ever having to get out of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got anything to share on that one? Or any other one? Go ahead, Teresa.
On the first one, when you say things that you smell, if I smell Old Spice, I instantly think of my dad because, he was a roofer and he, of course, didn't smell good when he came home. And after a shower, he'd be all smelly good, and we'd all climb up on our dad's lap and smell his Old Spice. So that smell triggers that thought immediately to me. So, personal deal.
What is it with roofers and Old Spice, Teresa? Because my dad was a roofer that did Old Spice too.
And I bet you can smell it right now, even though there's no Old Spice.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
It must just well disguise the roof smell, I guess.
They must have been around the same age.
Maybe.
Uh,
Well, I did finish my poem,
Okay.
so I can read it if you all are interested, but I haven't written one for a long time, so here we go.
Absolutely.
All right, I titled it If These Walls Could Talk to fit in with the whole theme of things. So here goes nothing. If these walls could tell the story of me, each layer of strata my own history, what stories would they sing? What songs would they tell? Would they echo through gorges? Would they whisper or yell? The bed would be soft, just like Grandma's kisses, the walls standing strong as sassy young misses. The rocks they would wind, they'd twist and they'd turn, each ravine crying stories of hard lessons learned. Oh, if these walls could talk, what wonders they'd tell, singing loud songs of triumph from where memories dwell. If these, yes, if these walls could tell the story of me, what wonders to uncover my sedimentary.
Okay. That's good. Very good. Yeah.
Thanks. Snaps, thanks.
Very good. Very good. Very good. I was remembering travel too, but smells from travel, and remembering the woody damp, woody smell of the hotel rooms in Antigua, Guatemala. And it just going back there again, it's like, oh, there's that smell, and just kind of lingers in my mind.
I think of campfires. I love them. And I like to watch the sunset and be around a campfire and then look at the stars and in the quiet at the farm. That's one of my favorite things to do.
To to Linda's, that just makes me think of my dad taking us during the summertime to campfires and bonfires, and we'd camp overnight.
We just had a shots call down the road. And you have anything?
We spent a lot of time at Lake Jacomo growing up. We went from camping in tarp tents to real tents to the pool behind trailer tent.
Yep.
Mhm. And Carol, do you have any tastes of your home cooking that linger in your mind?
Well, no, no, not so much. I think of the gardens, vegetable gardens, flower gardens that I've tended and worked in all my life. When I was little, pick the green beans, pick the peas, pick the tomatoes, carrots, everything. Everything we only things that we ate, we grew, and so I was in the garden a lot. And so my flowers now are mostly my garden, but that's big influence on me, memory.
I remember trying to help Linda's mother tend her garden, and I was looking at the green beans, and they had bugs on them, so I was going to go get some spray and spray the green beans. And I I got the spray, and I sprayed them. And the next morning, they were dead because it was weed killer, not bug spray.
Mom put stuff in different containers.
Oh, yeah, there are stories about switch containers and bug spray. Sure.
We all had a good laugh over that one.
Yeah.
So some of these smells and tastes or experiences we've cherished, but we could move on to number two, experiences that you've cherished.
Hands down, you know, having our children and my husband. I cherish that. I cherish that my parents brought me up in a Christian home, and I was brought up in the times that I was brought up in. Those are good things to me. I would cherish.
I think for most all of us that have kids or grandkids or anything, if you participated or was anywhere close when those births were occurring, that's something you don't ever forget and cherish.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember after 9 long months of waiting, seeing Katie put in Diane's arms when she was, what, 10 months old?
9 months old.
We'd been waiting for 9 months, but seeing her put in Diane's arms and in Guatemala, and I mean, all of the children's births were special, but that one rings just because of Diane's joy at the moment. And yeah, there wasn't the physical childbearing pain there, but just the joy and the relief
Yeah.
was
Memorable.
Mhm.
One thing that came to my mind, and I've thought of it often, was getting to know my mother as an adult, me being an adult and my mom being an adult. Because the childhood version of mom and going through the teenage years and not understanding things, when she lived with us and we kind of got to take care of her in assisted living too, it was, she just shared things with me, her life, her perspective. It was woman to woman. And, I got to know her as a real close friend, and loved my mom. But I'm happy that I had that experience, that adult experience with her. Very much so.
Mhm.
I certainly cherish the opportunity to pursue my ministerial call, whether that's in congregations or hospice, but all of that is just surreal that I have the opportunity to do that, and don't know what I would do without that outlet. Um, Looking back, where I would have made other turns without it. So it's something that's um, let me be who I am. So, so who's been liberated? What liberated you?
Sirens are going. No,
Where's the one? What's it coming from?
negative. False. False noise.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think I said like just being human, like just being like understanding you're human and you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna do things that aren't right. You're not perfect and kind of
When did you learn that?
yesterday. No. Probably somewhere
Just 8
in
years old when you learned that you weren't perfect.
right. No, it's a development thing that happens over time, but I think sometimes you do um have a hard time failing or doing, not being perfect. So it's liberating when you realize that's okay.
I put down one of my things, and it came from you, Pastor Paul. I never felt like I could really completely forgive. I knew I needed to forgive, but I thought I just can't get there because I was always remembering what happened. And one time you said that forgiveness doesn't mean that you do not remember what happened. And that was liberating to me. I don't feel like I'm a total failure because I truly can't forgive. I think the fact that just because I can remember it or it comes up once in a while doesn't mean I did not reach forgiveness for what I needed to forgive someone for. So,
It's a storyline that has a different outcome when you remember it now.
mhm. So I think that was liberating.
Good. You got to remember where I said we were when we were doing this, and by now we're a couple glasses in, okay? So
Classes, samples.
samples, and
Samples.
so I said I had to say divorce on that one. It was quite liberating to have a
We got tired.
liberty and freedom from something that was rather constricting and stifling and was not I could not be who I am and didn't like who I was becoming. So it was very delivering kind of liberating moment. And we got sirens going off here.
Yeah, we do too. We
We're
do
under a
not check.
tornado warning.
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 What are they saying?
I assume that there's a tornado. That's just my first thought, but
That's fair warning. That's fair warning.
Looking
You
on
can hear
radar,
this.
and it doesn't
I'm gonna
look like
say
there's
there's
anything right here in Independence.
there's nothing around us on radar.
Not here.
No, I mean
Okay.
way north of us and way south of us. So I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't
Yeah.
either, but I don't think we need to be concerned right this minute.
Okay, just trying to stay abreast of it. I had to
We'll keep
do a
the
Good Friday
radar up
service
here.
during storm sirens once and couldn't get home because I hadn't been updated.
If we have to end early for everyone's safety, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything right, not where we are right now.
Online is saying Ray and Caldwell counties. It's not saying anything about
I
Jackson.
don't know why the sirens are going off here, but
That can be crying wolf, can't it?
mhm.
Or in the path.
Yeah.
I think on the news though that they do still do sirens just for like severe warnings, like thunderstorm.
Hootie's saying she's heard severe warning sirens are going to start going for thunderstorms.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Might be.
It might be safe though.
Well, Annette, you had a story about liberation.
I
You
did.
told me.
I did. So I was raised in a Presbyterian church that was pretty conservative, very constrained, even though if you know anything about Presbyterian churches, they preach a lot of predestination, which always bothered me. And I questioned a lot because, but I couldn't say them out loud, not when you're a teenager or even a young adult. And after a while, I kind of snip with my mom a little bit on some of those concepts and stuff. But anyway, I've been working here for a while. I don't know, 6 months, year, maybe a little longer. And I can still picture the moment I was sitting at my desk and the pastor at the time, David Lyon, was sitting in that corner chair in the office. And I have no clue what he said, but I had been really learning about the difference in beliefs between the UCC and Presbyterian Church, and I was liking them, liking the beliefs here fit more in what I had always believed all my life, even as a child. And I can just remember the weight of those beliefs lifting off of me and just feeling like, wow, after prayer and studying and learning and discussion, I can believe whatever I want. I don't have to fit in that box. And that was very, very liberating for me and has helped me probably grow my faith way more than all those constraints and all those rules and all that of the Presbyterian Church. And I'm not putting them down. I'm thankful for what I had as a youth. I'm thankful for that background, but I'm also very thankful for what has happened through my time here.
It's hard to look at everybody's eyes and see who's trying to hide on Zoom. Certainly, a change in denominations. I don't know whether to put it with liberation or beliefs I've outgrown, but certainly moving from my former denomination and that whole process of unfolding and belief change. And that probably started, well, even before hospice, uh, even in seminary, and even before that, certain things that just didn't quite resonate with me as being, found myself trying to say those things with conviction from the pulpit, and it was half-hearted and forced because I wasn't really sure about that. I knew what I was supposed to say, but getting past that and being liberated to see God as grace and a loving God rather than a God of wrath and judgment, and humankind as being loved instead of damned. Um, yeah, that was a whole big process. But hospice probably was the linchpin that just freed it all up. And realizing the impact of a stifling faith on folks who didn't hold that tradition. And it was quite a detriment as a hospice chaplain to talk with folks and not be able to embrace the span of grace that they understood. And I learned a lot from patients. And so, yeah, a lot of beliefs there that were evolving. Um, Anybody else got anything on those? We can move, we can just go hit and miss, whatever we want to do. Teresa, was there one that brought memories to you that stood out and you got a little bit more mileage out of than others?
Well, I was just kind of going down the line. I don't remember now which ones I kind of honed in on
Yeah, just
last
tell us a story.
week.
It don't have to
Tell us
be
a
any
story.
particular question.
Um, I've learned to never say never. I've learned a lot about forgiveness. I've learned that I do need help. I do need people. I used to think I didn't need anybody. I'm fine, and I know that I do need people, and it does matter to me to be involved and have my church family, have my family, and still being able to have God in my life. And those things to me are, I guess, number one. I think I kind of got out in the weeds there or something. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know if that pertains to anything, but things I've outgrown, those were some things that I may have outgrown. Thoughts as I've been an adult, 20 years into it, then I figured it out. But those are some thoughts that I had to change. It's for the better.
Life has taught you that you do need people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do like to be interactive, as you can tell.
We're glad you decided to interact with us.
What's that again?
We're glad you've decided to interact with us.
Thanks. I thought it was a question for a second. Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
One of the stories that Teresa told me, which was, I told her it surprised me and it didn't surprise me at all. She mentioned her time as a massage therapist. Like, well, that makes sense. It fits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I liked how you have the analogy. You always bring in the outdoors, indoors to us. You always relate things to the earth and sky and nature and things that God gave us. I like that.
It's been a cherished experience for me to find that track to pursue and walk farther down it. Linda, what else you got?
Oh, I've got a hodgepodge of things. One thing that I don't know if it's evolved, or it's something I let go of, was I took the Bible too literally. I grew up Baptist, and if it was Adam and Eve in a Garden of Eden, that's what it was. If it was a giant, it was a giant. If it was a big fish, it was a big fish. And taking classes in college, I think I was the only one. They said who believed in Adam and Eve, and I raised my hand. I was the only one that did. So that was my first realization that maybe there's a broader view and some other lessons to learn, you know. So that's something that happened in my lifetime that I do. I can see many lessons in the stories that we were raised with. I think I've lived a long time and I'm constantly trying to discover who I am. And I have been in positions that women are the minority and are not respected. I'm old enough to be in those days. Even here in the church, women couldn't usher, do things. It was frowned upon. It took a long time to be on church council. And I learned that women can be as capable as men. So I guess a little monster got created there. And I believe women can do anything and be good at what they do if that's what they're meant to do. I'm not a big risk taker. So, I went back to, I got married young and quit college to marry Mel, and I have had a wonderful life and a wonderful family. And it took me a while to get back. I finished my degree and I passed my professional registered parliamentarian's exam. And that's when my children, I think, finally thought of me as being smart, was when I took that oral and written exams.
When did you come to that conclusion?
Well, they just treated me different when I passed
No,
that exam.
my question was, when did you come to the conclusion that you were smart?
Oh, I think I've known I was smart for a long time. It was convincing the kids.
Mel said you should have known that when you married him, like you said before.
Right. I was glad she didn't say
There's a story
say something
there.
negative about me at that point.
No, we've made a good team over all these years.
Well, that's good because by this time, again, gauge where we are on the sheet by the wine tasting. And when we got to the risk taking, Diane said that I was the risk that she took.
Yeah.
Which I could give her that. I could give her that. It didn't make much sense, but
And one thing that stands out at me reading my list is I said that raising my children, that's where I am the most unselfish. I would do anything for my children. I really would. I'd do anything I possibly can. And it bothers me when I don't have control and I can't help. And I think, yeah, that's when I am the most unselfish.
I think that's pretty understandable. I imagine everybody feels that way that has children, I would think.
Remind me of that this next weekend when we're taking care of Jessica's animals and Kirk's animals. We're running back and forth.
these have been, for the most part, maybe entirely pleasant memories and experiences. Are there sufferings that seasoned anybody?
I learned about anxiety when I found out I had that tumor in my brain. That was very, very scary. And I don't think anybody understands how frightening that was, and not knowing for months whether it was growing or not growing and whether I was going to have surgery or radiation or whatever. I found out what anxiety is, and it was really, really hard to deal with. And I have a new appreciation for anyone who's suffering from anxiety, because I'm a lot better now once I found out most likely not going to have to do anything about it. But it really did teach me some lessons to trust God and to have an understanding for people's troubles that they're going through. So that was probably the hardest time in my life, I think. It was probably the hardest time in Jeff's too, because I was not easy to live with.
I think I learned some of those same lessons just by working with people in different countries. Jeff, I'm sure has had the same experiences because he's worked all over the world, and people are people the same. I mean, people are people everywhere. They've all got the same needs and same desires. We may go about it in a different way, but it took a while to learn that and to get comfortable with that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Nothing better than being exposed and being in a foreign country for a month or two on a project.
I'll say losing my grandpa probably seasoned me because that was probably the hardest thing I ever dealt with in my life. And I remember when my grandpa passed away, like it was in 2017, and probably 9 months later, I lost my uncle who didn't tell nobody at his time with my grandpa being sick that he had cancer. And by the time we all knew, it was too late. And that was like most darkest, most loneliest I've ever been in my whole life. And it seasoned me. Like I was on medication and I was depending on that medication to make me numb from everything. It makes it hard now just to talk about it because it makes me want to cry. But I've been off that medication now for several years and I'm doing so much better. Like I think about it, yeah, I know my grandpa's in a better place, my uncle's in a better place, but losing them both was just really, really rough.
And you are
Because they
too.
took,
You're in a better place too,
I
having
am,
having gone through that.
I am, and like having you guys in my life and us having Emerson helped a whole lot with that. Like I've told myself, my story just started. Like I know when you said last week, Pastor, it might take you just a couple minutes to do these questions or even 40 years. And honestly, I'm almost 40 and it might take me a year for each question. Because I've seen a lot, been through a lot, but it's made me stronger and better.
No.
So thank you
Right.
guys for everything.
Good.
For me, some of the hardest times, Hootie, kind of with you as far as with deaths. I lost both my parents and both my sisters in a 4-year time span. And that was so, so hard. And also during that time, our son was in Afghanistan a few times. And um, one one particular thing about that stands out. He spent 3 tours there. But there was one that he didn't end up going on. And I was very thankful for Paul because he kind of guided me through that time. But he was part of a group that had designed a program. I can't tell you anything about it because I didn't know then and I don't know now. But he was going to be leaving and we wouldn't even know he left. We wouldn't be allowed to know he left. We'd know if we didn't hear from him for 72 hours that he was gone. We wouldn't know where he was and we wouldn't know when he was coming back. And that was the most we could know. And as a mom, I was beside myself. I was barely functioning, just knowing that that was coming. And we couldn't really talk about it either. Paul knew, I imagine Marita knew, but that was it. And we couldn't, even when if he had gone, we wouldn't have been able to talk about it. And that was so, so difficult.
Now you got anything else?
Well, probably I just, just listening to other people, and just kind of my thoughts are, my mom died when I was 25. And that was, I mean, I'd had other losses of aunts and uncles and people in my life, but certainly that event totally changed the course of my life. I absolutely sure I would not have married him if my mom had not died.
You wouldn't have let her.
Probably not. I was very like I was sheltered, I grew up in a very loving, sheltered home, no big major issues, problems. I was loved. I knew I was loved. I had a good family. Went off to college, was all good. Successful, did not struggle much. And then when she died, like bad things can happen and life's short and you better live your life because you don't have any guarantees about it. And my mom dealt with a lot of anxiety. She dealt with a lot of, I think, probably menopausal anxiety. It just got really worse. And I think it caused her to avoid going to the doctor. She had breast cancer. She avoided finding out, and it was too late once she couldn't ignore it anymore, basically. So just that whole thing just really shaped me and changed me. And I was, I was definitely on a path of marrying somebody else. And this whole life that I have would not have been. I don't know what it would have been like, but it wouldn't have been this. I know that for sure. So that is the significant experience of my life. Still, even with other things that have happened, I always come back to that. That would, and then caring for my dad, my mom had been alive, I wouldn't have had that. I mean, you just think about how your course just whoop, just changed, just did a 180. So anyway, that's that. Thanks, Mom. And the thing that's really significant is I am the age my mom was when she died right now. I turned 53 this year. It's like, yeah, she was even younger than I thought. You know? So, yeah.
I told Hootie because I'm in the middle of cooking dinner as well. She said you guys were still on the same question about what seasoned you. And
Mhm.
I said, what seasoned me was going through foster care and having to care for myself starting at the age of 12. Actually, it started at 10 and a half, and I made it through foster care and got placed with my mom at 12. But not knowing my mom also made a lot of challenges living in her house at 12 years old.
Mhm.
And in it, show the two pictures. The first one of if you can tell what they are, the bedrock.
Mariah usually does.
Yeah, they're the middle one.
No, but now I gotta share. This one?
No, the middle
other
one.
Can you guys see that?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a picture from Palo Duro Canyon. And that's the bedrock. We're walking along the riverbed, and that's kind of the bedrock with it's a red brick clay stone, and the white running through it is just a vein of gypsum that runs through it, created under pressure, but just runs as solid as it was and all that is up on it, you can still find that that vein of gypsum running through there, and it's really the picture doesn't capture it. It's really a beautiful thing, but I wanted to show that picture. I wanted to get it when I saw it because I was thinking about the study and all of the things that have put us under pressure, seasoned our lives. There's a vein of grace. There's a vein of hope that runs through it. And the more pressure that seems to be up on it, the more it shines and glows when we look back on it. So we can think about the bedrock of our faith. We can think about all the layers and the sediment that builds up. And as we think about those stories, it's good to have eyes that look for the veins of God's presence. Sometimes that comes in the form of community. Sometimes it comes in the form of a congregation or a Pastor David saying the right thing that triggers your mind. Or yeah, meeting somebody at the right time in your life. There's a vein there that goes through and runs the course with you, and whatever is being built upon, there's that look in your life and put all your stories together with that vein of grace and God's protection. Makes sense?
Mhm.
And did anybody do, Mariah did a poem. Anybody have a rock formation or describe one or a picture or anything? Teresa, you look all excited. You have one?
I kind of tried to. I don't know if you can see this, so don't laugh. It looks like a tornado. So at the bottom, it starts at, I don't know if you can read it, but it
Okay.
starts out pretty stable and everything. And then I think it started
What are
going to
those?
one side. It's one point where it got a little unhealthy. And then it
Stop
got,
sharing the screen, Annette.
oh, I guess I could show my
There you
screen.
go.
Now put it up,
Now put it
Teresa.
back up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so anyway, I don't even know what I put, but there's some things there where, here we go. Starts out really stable and then I kind of go my own way and it gets unhealthy there for a little bit and then it gets back. I get support rocks that come in and it gets healthier. It goes a little haywire for a second and then it mushrooms out to the best place ever.
Okay. There is a formation that that is an exact replica of. Um, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'll look it up and tell you what it is. But they stand like just pillars and they slant and just a stack. Um, and I'll find out what the name is. I can't remember it
I
off the
think I
top
know
of
what
my
you're
head.
saying. It's probably supposed to be kind of like healthy or I don't remember the name, but I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, we'll find it. That's neat. It's kind of like the movie Devil's Tower, where all these people have the dream in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Everybody dreams about the Devil's Tower and never seen it, and they all go there. So
Yes.
yeah, you drew a perfect model of one of those, whatever they're called.
It's not just a pillar?
Yeah, there's a name for them though.
Okay. I don't know.
I think it's a native name that means
Okay.
stack, or
Yeah.
I'll find it. Very good. Very good. Anybody else have one?
I hate to show mine. I don't know if you can see mine.
Light. You gotta get in front of the camera.
I don't think I can. Oh, where do I need to be?
You were
Go
you were
up,
good.
go up from where you've got it there.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Up, yeah.
I can't see it.
Kind of looks like a fortress.
Well, the bottom is short because I had a really rough childhood, dysfunctional family, and I struggled with self-image, and I felt like I had been called to preach, and that was a major thing for me when I was 12. And in the Baptist church, a woman can't be a preacher, and the minister had me get on my knees at 12 on his couch and pray and pray and pray and pray until I understood I was supposed to go in the mission field. So that was a big thing. And then I got married and have this growing formation, because I wouldn't have dreamed, marriage and life could be like living in the White House with the house with the picket fence and the yard and everything going great. And then I have my extended family on different pillars, and some of the kids have had some real struggles. So there's some crevices, but we kept building our life, and we're older now. Yeah, I know you can't see it. So it goes up higher, and then church is very important. And we have a ledge, and I know last year during Lent I thought about death all the time, but I have Mel and I holding hands, and we have a little more journey to go, and then I have the sun, and that's my life story.
Okay. Bring it Sunday so we can see it better. Yeah, bring it Sunday.
Yeah, she just had it sketched pretty lightly on that paper.
Yeah. Well, I can't draw, so I have a photograph of one that God built. Okay.
I'm assuming picture one.
Mhm. No.
I know, but I was trying to get it big.
There we go. There we go. This is in Sedona, Arizona, on a mesa at a vortex, which is kind of a electrically charged atmosphere. And I sat there for the other feet weren't there. I sat there for a couple of hours, and then they joined me at the end, and I to see why I was still there, and I had to show them what I saw.
No, it doesn't matter. But if you remember, the girls locked themselves out of the hotel,
Yeah,
and I had to go back and rescue them
Yeah.
and come back with
that
them.
is the story.
That is the story.
But they
We
were picking
just-
me up at any rate. So there was I walked the trail to get there, but there was a parking spot at the bottom that you could just walk straight up to it. And sitting there after a while, I realized that one of the mountain ranges in the background was just like what um, Linda was showing about her lifeline. The whole mountain range, I could just start at my childhood and trace all the way across of evolving and periods of decline and depression and plateauing and climbing again professionally. And it's not the foreground range, but it's the back range, and everything can be traced right through it. And in the center of the picture there's like a pillar that sticks up on a mountain in the foreground, and that was kind of like where I was. That's like a pointer saying you are here. And I couldn't see the rest of the mountain range after that. But it was very reassuring to know that something that God's of course, in my mind of higher altitude and meditation or whatever, just was convinced that I was following something that was designed and written in stone, that I was on course all of the way, and that God's presence was aware of where I was enough to create this mountain range. Now, I know it didn't happen, but it sure gave me the assurance that I didn't care what happened beyond that point. I was secure and stable, and the mountains disappear, and okay, it doesn't scare me, and I just know that whatever's there is going to be secure and steady. So that was my lifeline.
Showing the third picture.
Yeah. The third one was kind of could also be it's, you probably saw it on the screen, the one with it's just the doorway in the rock, the openness. But that goes, I decided to save it for, that's kind of a key word for me, a key concept, key spiritual concept, the openness. But I'll save it for next lesson. We talk about emptiness and openness, and we'll start with that one. I read an article about stories. I've got to get this book. It's called Everything is a Story. And this is kind of a review of it. And the book supposedly asks a question: what is your relationship to your story? And how is that story medicine for you to give you strength and hope, assurance, calm you? How is your story medicinal for you? The things that have happened. Um, Here's another quote from the book: stories never really die. They become compost, moving from one kind of existence to another, which kind of goes with the sediment and layers of accumulating a canyon. Um, and through the writing, is kind of, the one who's reviewing it said that the book gave her permission to view these unlikely parts of myself not as outliers, but as essential plot points. And canyon wise, I liken that to a side canyon. And I told a story, I think, yesterday on the live stream about going through these questions with Diane, and kind of always seeing my dad as a side canyon in my life, not really that influential, but through reflection, yeah, I got a work ethic from him that ran through the whole family. And it was kind of dismissed, his influence, but it's something that's pretty uh, central to who I am too. Um, then with Diane, she talked about, her mom dying early, and the grandkids never knowing her. She never got to meet any of her grandkids, and, talks about her life. How long will she be remembered? Diane's asking this question: how long will I be remembered? How long will people remember me?
Well, how long will, yeah.
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 So,
I'm just saying, like, my mom's memory ends with
yeah,
me and my brother and sister,
yeah.
because we're the youngest people who know her. So, assuming we, follow an order of
She
life.
has no siblings remaining.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So here's an encouragement to that end. Uh, she asked us to identify living seeds in our lives and nurture those, nurture those to become those seeds to become living oaks. And she kind of uses a tree analogy through the whole thing about stories. So as we think about our story, there's a lot to nurture and to find the vein of God's presence and providence um, through the story, that vein of gypsum that runs through there with the shining thread. All right, well, we made it through that whole session, so that tonight's session will not be stories of emptiness. Tonight are stories ringing from the rim. Okay, echoing at the rim, something, I don't know. But we will build this as a session 2.5, and next week will be, oh, session 3 or 4 / whatever. Okay. Well, we made it. I think we're all safe, and the storm has passed, and so everyone be safe through the whatever might happen with weather-wise this evening. And thanks for the accommodation of Zoom. We got through it with minimal risk. Good night, folks.
Good night. Thank
Good
you
night.
all.
Right.
Right.